Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you once again for joining us today. We have with us Ambassador Sandhu, who's the Ambassador of India to the United States. He has been very kind and has provided leadership and direction to the activities of the India Student Hub. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today and making time. Just so you know, we are joined today by about 350 live viewers. For the first part, we've aggregated about 400 form questions and 500 peer support calls into categories. They range from travel to passport and visa renewals. The students are eagerly waiting to hear from you.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. No, thank you very much. I think uh, this uh, this is a opportunity to reach out to whole lot of students, and I will start by complimenting you and your team for creating this hub, this line through which we can have an exchange and I can reach out to many of your colleagues. Uh, I think I'd like to start first by, we are in a extraordinary, unprecedented medical emergency situation. This situation is neither a creation of the students, nor creation of the United States government, nor a creation of Indian government. It came, but all of us have been proactively dealing with it. Right from the start, on 11th, as you are aware, visa restrictions were put in India. We created a 24/7 helpline, and I'm just focusing on the students' issues here. Through your hub, through your platform, also, we were able to get inputs. What exactly are the problems that are coming up? Some students had problems regarding accommodation. So immediately the embassy group got in touch with the university authorities. We tried to sort it out. Many of the students, international students, were able to stay on. Then we also got in touch with some of the hotel owners. Many of them were from the Indian American community. They also came forward, offered places. Some had even food and other supply problems. Those also people have come forward. Embassy has coordinated, the consulates have coordinated. Some had medical problems, some medical issues, emergency medical assistance was provided. So it's a developing and an evolving situation. And we are there, all of us together, very much standing shoulder to shoulder. My embassy officials, the consulates, 24/7, they are available. Whenever you require any assistance, tell us. And we try and help out. But we also have to understand the situation in perspective. As I told you, it's a medical emergency. It is evolving. And we have to face it together. And I think the students have the maximum innovativeness. I recall from my own personal experience, school, college, university, all the time I've stayed in a hospital. And I think that's where we learn how to face adversity. So, in fact, rather than the embassy giving a helping hand, I would take a lot of lessons from the students. So, we are in it together. In fact, since I'm going back to my student days, I also remember I played hockey. And in a field game, you learn the team spirit. Mm-hmm. That's also very important in this situation. We cannot just be looking at ourselves. We have to look at each other. We have to look at our families, our society, our peers, our friends, and the people around us. Their medical welfare, their well-being is also our responsibility. So, therefore, in my opening remarks, I will say, as I said, we are all in it together. We are standing with you. We are not going anywhere. And you look at the facts. Up till so many weeks, all of you have performed so well. And it's your responsibility to see that all your peers stay well. One, that you stay well, you follow all the instructions, those are being given. There are very clear medical instructions which are, and I'm not even saying advisories, now they have become instructions. So not only you have to see that you obey them, you also have to see that your peers and your family members who are getting worried, that you are able to tell them back that, look, I am fine, but you please take care of yourself. Follow what you have been told. So I look forward to hearing from you. These were some of the opening remarks I wanted to make.
Sure. Of course, Ambassador. And I think you've actually hit the nail straight up, because a lot of questions that students have asked have centered around a lot of the themes that you've just touched. And I'd love to come back to some of them. Just to be able to begin, I believe that one of the most common questions that we've heard are surrounding the travel category. So that's perhaps a good place for us to start. Now, a question that Revati from Savannah College, Mayank at Northeastern, and several others have raised is centered around exactly that: when and how they can travel back to India. At the same time, we've had some students who've noticed that the WHO and other organizations have commended the lockdown efforts that countries like India and Singapore have made. So if you could please speak to the lockdown that India has implemented and its impacts on students.
Okay, I deliberately left out the India part because I thought most of your people are following and we are essentially addressing the students here. But let me take 2-3 minutes. I think it's very important and significant that the Indian leadership has shown complete proactive decision making. And while the numbers are still very low compared to, please keep in mind that we are a country of 1.3 billion people. We are a democratic polity. You can see here itself how difficult it is to impose a lockdown. You know, with the provincial governments, with the mayors, etc., etc. Similarly in India. But in India, the entire political leadership has come behind Prime Minister Modi. They are supporting the lockdown fully. In the first experiment, we did what was people's curfew. Everybody came on board. Then we went in for a lockdown when the numbers are still low. But that has saved us so far. It also gave us much needed time to establish medical requirements, to establish the number of beds, the hospitals. And one part I would like to bring to all of your attention, which is mostly missed, that we have a very strong public health system which is quite informal. In our villages, our health workers are very, very well conscious about virals and tackling epidemics. So you don't always need a very structured setup. The rural healthcare system functions very effectively to be able to tackle such emergencies. And we have in the past. And the present numbers also show that this lockdown has ensured that the numbers remain much in control. And as you have been reading. So that part I will say situation is much better, but we have to be very mindful that two of the most important directives that are coming. One is social distancing. Second is avoiding travel. In a high density places, like for example, New York, you have seen what is happening. Therefore, in India, we have to be very, very careful, and that's why this strong lockdown has come. And this lockdown is not because the authorities wanted it. It is for the goodwill, for the welfare, for the health of all your near and dear ones. And that's why we need to be very, very conscious about that. Now, your second question about travel. I know that a lot of queries have been coming on that. First, let me bring you back on 11th, the first travel restriction started. On 22nd was the last flight. So there was an adequate time given for any emergency travel. But I again want to bring you back to the two essentials. One, social distance. Second, against traveling. Therefore, all the students need to keep in mind that for them to undertake an 18-hour journey is inviting trouble. Not only trouble for themselves, but also where they are going. At this time, the most advisable thing to do is to stay where you are. It has carried you so far. From what we are hearing is that the next 2 weeks are very critical. So stay where you are. Once the situation improves and traveling is possible, then flights will start. But at this moment, the situation does not permit, and my strong advice to you is stay put where you are. We are in touch with you. You have problems, get back, discuss within yourselves, use your hub, and further if there are issues, please come to us and we will help you out.
Thank you, Ambassador. That was very, very useful to know. I completely agree with your advice that students should stay put and stay where they are because that's the safest thing to do. Some students have raised some queries. For instance, Aditya and Shushrut, both from Wisconsin-Madison, have asked about their F1 OPT and J1 visa statuses, which are contingent on whether they can stay in the country and the legality of their status. They've asked if there's any way that the Embassy of India can perhaps sort of try to intercede or urge the US government to either automatically extend these visas or the unemployment days during the COVID-19 crisis. So what can we tell students?
I perfectly understand this problem. This has been coming to us also. But I want to draw your attention at this time, the first and foremost focus of all the governments, including the United States government, is to ensure the well-being and health of all. So the focus is right now not on the visas. But I also want to mention to you that this issue has been raised by us with the US government. We have raised it at our External Affairs Minister level when he spoke to Secretary of State, the Foreign Secretary with the Deputy Secretary. I've been raising it with the State Department. We are writing to them also. But we also need to be understandable with them that right now their focus is not on the visas. I am sure this issue will be tackled with this full understanding that there is a particular emergency situation which arose and that will be taken into account. So I would urge the students that they should connect up with their university authorities. There are full-fledged advisories which have been put up. Connect up with many of you, connect up with us. Once you have put in your request, and in each university there are officials who deal with this. Please talk to them. Bring to their attention that this is the issue. because it should also go from them to the State Department. But we are also formally taking it up with them. And as the situation stabilizes, I'm sure this will also be tackled.
Thank you, sir. Um, we've touched briefly on travel, and I would like to come back to it later because it's such a growing point. But
Sure.
since we're talking about social distancing, and you've mentioned it a couple of times, this is, as you mentioned correctly, the advice that is strongly being given through several outlets, including the embassy and the CDC and everyone. A few students have noted that the city and shelter-in-place guidelines have impacted them financially in certain ways. So you did touch on this briefly when you talked about students should reach out to the embassy, but if you could elaborate a bit, I think that could be beneficial to many.
Again, let us be very open and frank with each other. All the students have come here to study. And they came here out of their choice. We are still not have reached the end of the semester. Okay? There will be difficulties, there will be challenges. I don't deny that. But please remember that we are in an emergency health situation. And therefore, some problems each one of us will face. But as I said, that such adversities provide opportunities and provide solutions. So we certainly need to think outside the box. I am not in a position to tell you that I will financially bankroll you. Nobody can say that today. But be very realistic about what challenges you are facing currently. Don't look what you will face 2 months later. Because at this time, the focus is to stay well. As they say, as my Prime Minister said, Jaan hai to jahan hai. We will get an opportunity, you will get an opportunity to sort this out. So at this time, if you are really under a crunch, that's what team spirit is about. Come together. You are facing a situation, then you write to us. But do not, the opportunity is not to solve all the problems which will come after 2 or 3 months. The opportunity is to ensure that you stay well, and in the next 2 or 3 weeks, like you have passed through now, you will pass through it. And we are there very much standing with you. Get to us, we will advise you through, and we will try and assist you wherever we can. But as I said, I want to be very frank with you. You are here as students. You came with a particular situation. The situation has emerged. We are all facing it. It's still very early. Let us not start looking at the doomsday scenario. And I also want to use this opportunity to bring one particular aspect to all yours. You are in United States of America. This place has the strength in medicine, diagnostics, research, and equipment. Do not underestimate where you are. You will perhaps get the best medical assistance here. Therefore, there is nothing to panic. Stick on.
Thank you, sir. Those are very powerful words. Thanks for sharing that. You raised something very interesting about how adversity provides us with opportunities. And when I was at school, one of the things that was very, that I had a very strong sentiment about was how my peers would engage with and volunteer to support the community. A number of students have come forward, both to our peer support line and through other avenues, saying that, for instance, Mansi from Rochester and Mohammed from Maryland, they've come forward saying that they would like to do community service and help out during these troubling times. Is there anything you could suggest on how they can go about helping their community?
I was going to touch upon this, and I'm very happy that you brought it up. First and foremost, ensure that you take all the precaution. What all has been said, including masks, when you go into this service. Having done that, this is the time where the community where you are living, around the places you are living, you give a helping hand, it will remain in the memory. You are establishing a base for yourself, for your peers, and for other Indians. So in whichever way you can help, in terms of whether in community meals or helping out in community service, even maybe some of you who know how to drive, helping out in driving people, I would say get in touch with the nearest community people and they will be able to guide you. You could also get in touch with some of our officials where you are based. We will check it out and we will connect you with some of the people who are involved in community service. But this is a very, very important thing, which I told you, that this is also an opportunity where you can show your true character. And I'm sure that appreciation will help you not only mature yourself as a human being, but also with the people and the surroundings which you are living in. And wherever you are helping out, do message to us, because we want to take pride in that, and I would certainly like to share it with other people.
Thank you for sharing that, sir. Trying to circle back a little bit and come to the travel question, there was a little piece that was also seen that was a very big trend. Several students did request an update on their OCI cards, and whether in the future, even though these are unpredictable times, whether they could be valid for travel to India. So we just wondered if there had been any updates on that front.
See, right now the OCI remains suspended. It got suspended on 11th, and as I mentioned to you, that travel was permitted till 22nd. The embassy and the consulates, we gave emergency visas to many OCI holders who needed to travel. I don't want to go into specific cases, but there were cases where the parents were in India, the children were here. There were a lot of emergency cases where some deaths took place. And look, in the current situation, since we are just mentioning, there have been some very sad cases who are not able to travel. Some people who have lost their parents, but they are not able to travel. They are not able to travel because of their own welfare and also the welfare of whom they are going to visit. So it's not that there is heartlessness in the system, but because there is responsibility to see that everybody, including all of you, stay well. So once we have got over the situation, I'm sure the OCI will be restored. Once the travel has started, we will be there to help you out. So there is nothing to worry on that.
That's good to know. Thank you, sir. As the stream has been progressing, we've been receiving certain questions, and some students have mentioned, as you said, these are challenging times, and they do have they're feeling a little bit isolated, a little bit lonely, and they're away from their parents and their loved ones. So I was wondering, considering that you have been posted in different countries, away from at work, away from family, even during crises, I was wondering if you had any insight on how you managed during those situations.
That's why I started off with telling that I am completely hostler like most of you. Right from my school days. Mm-hmm. I went into hostel when I was in class 5th. So you can imagine. Mm-hmm. And I think there's nothing like peers. There's nothing like learning with them. And today, actually, as I mentioned, these adversities provide an opportunity. I never knew really, I mean, despite all this thing, that I could interact with so many of you through this mechanism. So this is a new learning. In future, it will be much easier. Once the things normalize, still we don't have to necessarily travel all the way. So we can, so, you know, there are so many things I'm reading about. People are having virtual parties, get-togethers, they play games. So much can be done. I would urge everyone, even your parents, don't forget them. Please talk to them virtually. Show them that you are well and that you are happy. It will make them feel comfortable. It will make them see for themselves, because the situation from the time when I was a student to now, it's very different. Those days, when I went into the hostel in the beginning, every week I would write a letter to my parents. Slowly, you get more involved with your peers and you stop. So there were months when my parents didn't hear from me. But with today's gadgets, you are just a click away. So talk to them, talk to your relatives, use your time. Of course, don't ignore the online lessons. It's important that you stay engaged. So we have this opportunity to use the different mediums which will become part of us now. And I would say stay engaged, share with each other, tell each other which are good serials, which are good movies to watch, what games you can play. So the group activity should not cease.
Thank you, sir. And you did answer this already. Students expressed, the fact that there's 24-hour news cycles and there's an inundating flow of WhatsApp forwards, and that does contribute, to increasing parents' worry and like students' worries and anxieties. So I was wondering, what official channels of information do you recommend that people should monitor constantly to get reliable information?
Look, all of you are very smart. You have all access to this thing. I can't, this will be diplomatically incorrect if I say watch this channel and don't. What I will say is watch all the channels. I mean, I also in the evening, I go across. Some can be very depressing. Some are very optimistic. So take a pick, but don't stick to just one. And you have so many sources of information coming together. And as I mentioned in my last remarks, that do keep in mind that you are in the United States. And here, research, diagnostics, medicine, it's a top. Many of you are from the STEM areas. There's also an opportunity to get involved in it. Read about that and share it with your parents, that how progress is taking place, how the viral medicine is going to be coming soon. It's in advanced stages of clinical trials.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, of course, sir. So a lot of students are echoing sentiments saying that they feel thank you for your support and they feel gratified in speaking with you. That's great to know. And I echo that too, sir. Thanks for making time, especially on a Saturday. A couple of questions that are coming in include how to contact the embassies and consulates best and how to register with the embassy as students.
We will again ensure that advisories are resent through emails. You just visit our website, you will find the emails. There's social media, we are present on all of it. Then, of course, your line, there's the hub. Through any of these multiple, just send us a message and we will ensure that you get a response back.
Okay.
We are all the time looking at any comments which are put out.
Okay, great, sir. Thank you. Another question is what students should do for medical assistance since their university health services may have closed.
As I mentioned to you earlier, that this is again an evolving and a developing situation. So whenever any such issue comes up, which is of emergency, there's a way to connect with you guys. There's a way to connect with us. We have a 24/7, that is every day, every hour, there are people who are regularly manning it. Please use those helpline numbers, call there. Wherever it is, we'll connect you with that respective consulate and the consulate will get in touch, depending upon what medical emergency it is.
Mm-hmm.
And there are also doctors who have volunteered because pharmacies are open. So to the nearest pharmacy, they can place the order for what appropriate medicine after they've spoken to you on the telephone. So there are different ways this can be attended to. But as you know, it's a developing situation. Whatever you have, see that it's an emergency situation and then you are utilizing that. Because the focus should remain to providing medical assistance to the needy.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you, sir. That's pretty good. And the real still, it's kind of interesting because students are still asking questions almost like we can't predict what's going to happen with the travel situation. But some students do have questions around, being quarantined after going to India and other things. So I was wondering if you could quickly just maybe give a brief, touch briefly on how students can sort of mitigate and wrap their heads around the uncertainty around their situation.
See, as I mentioned, I wish I had a magic wand and I could tell you, on this particular. But we are observing the evolving situation, both there and here. As of now, there is certainly a requirement of the 14-day this thing. Perhaps even that, as we keep reading, new and new issues are coming up and new solutions are also coming up. Like 2 weeks ago, wearing the mask was not required. Today, the advisories are that you should wear a mask, whether it's preventive or so. Similarly, as the situation develops and things start improving, we will be in a position to advise you when exactly you can travel. But as of now, stick where you are. Not for any other reason, but also, as I said, for your own welfare and the welfare of people you care, and also welfare of 1.3 billion Indians.
Thank you, sir. And that's actually a great way for us to close today's session out. I want to once again say that we really appreciate your time today for joining us. Are there any last words you would like to say to students, a message to leave them with?
Yeah, I would again mention that please keep an eye for our advisories. We will be absolutely on top of providing you with information. Once the situation has eased, once the airlines are going to fly or Air India is taking the bookings, we will immediately inform you. So keep that in mind, just add on to the queries which you are getting. And in final words, I'll again mention that we are here with you. I'm talking to you from Washington, D.C. My colleagues are there in all the consulates. You guys are volunteering. Everybody is giving a helping hand. As I said, that this adversity, we must convert it into an opportunity. If you are in a position to do some social service in the area which you are living in, go ahead and do so, but take all precautions. I'm sure whoever will involve you with that also will ensure that you take precautions.
Mhm.
But it's certainly an opportunity for you to show your helping hand, and I can tell you it will be much, much appreciated. And as far as your other worries are concerned on the visas, on travel, stick on. As the time evolves, we will help you out. Most of these issues will get resolved. So do not panic, be confident, and we will all go through with this situation. And
Thanks,
my
sir.
best wishes, you are the young, you are the future. In fact, the ideas come from you to us. So apart from these, if you have some positive ideas how we can be tackling better, please connect with us. How some of the information, you pick up information much faster than us. Share it with us in terms of some medical innovations, some practices, some diagnostic equipment which we can pick up from here and take for the welfare of our people. So all those areas, we look forward to being connected with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I look forward to coming again in 2 weeks when the situation is much better.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thanks, sir. It was very reassuring to speak with you. Hope you have a good
Thank you.
weekend.
And same to you, all of you.
Thank you. So thanks everyone for viewing with us. A quick piece of information before we close out. A lot of resources that were mentioned today are available online on the Indian Embassy Student Hub website. That's ishabus.com, ISHUBUS.com. You can navigate to the COVID-19 page. You are also very welcome to call the COVID-19 support line. An amazing team of volunteers are ready to take your calls. And like the ambassador said, we will get through this together. So please take care of each other and be well. Thank you.